back to It's Miracle Beauty. My name is Brandy, and my channel is based on utilizing what you have versus buying new. That's a daily struggle for me, so sometimes I do better than others. Last month, not so great. The first 2 months of the year, I did great. So it all tends to balance out. But today I'm doing an update on my pan challenges. I do 3 pan challenges. I do the same intro for all 3 videos. The intro will be copied and pasted, but the videos will be different on all 3. So my 3 challenges are, I have the 24 and 24, I have 12 by 7-4, and a dead to me pan. Basically 24 and 24 is just 24 products I'm currently panning. The 12 by 7-4 are things I'm trying to either get a lot of use out of or finish completely by 7-4. And then the dead to me is products that I either hate, dislike, or suspecting that I would like to declutter, or they're aging and getting older. If you like pan challenge updates, which I have some kind of big ones in here, but if you like pan challenge updates, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's get started on my April 2024 pan challenge updates. Okay, so the first challenge is the 24 and 24. This typically is the longest video. The other 2 are relatively short. In fact, I debate every month combining them, but I think it's nice to have short videos sometimes. So this one, I have 24 items that I'm panning, and they've been pretty consistent. We've had a few changes, but majority of the time it's been pretty consistent. So first item on this is the Bronze Borealis. This originally was just wanted to get use out of it. Didn't care what colors I got used out of it. I just wanted to get use out of it. So this has migrated. I do use these other 3, but I've been using this maroon color, which is probably the worst color in it, I will just point out, but I've been using that almost daily. I use it as the darkening on my outer corner, and sometimes I use it a lot, sometimes I barely put anything. Like, it just varies. It is very hard to deal with. It's very hard to blend. When I declutter this, when I take it out of my pan challenge, I probably will declutter it. I am a reformed, rehabbed Pat McGrath fan, and some of our items are 10s, but some of our items are not. But a lot of people treat them like they're 10s, and I'm just past that attitude, past buying every repeat she puts out, and I'm just trying to utilize what I spent a lot of money on. So when I get tired of this, I actually will probably roll in one of the motherships. So that one is just getting used. In fact, I don't even know. Yeah, I guess if you look close, you can see, let it adjust. There is definitely some disruption and some change in that palette. So that is the Pat McGrath. And I just want to note, there is one other palette that I've been panning unofficially. I use this for my transition shade every single day. This is by NARS, and it is the hibiscus one. I think it came out 2 years ago. This neutral shade right in the corner has a really big dip in it because I use that shade pretty much every day. I always have unofficial pans I'm kind of wanting to finish up or finish using, and so there's always those items. Next is the Pat McGrath Nymphet Blush, and this is one that I truly enjoy using. I have no issues with it. It's not seeing a ton of disruption really yet. A little bit of very peaks of the roses. Come on, what are we doing? So the very peaks of the roses, we're starting to get some, my autofocus was just going ballistic. So there is some disruption, but really not a lot, but I am enjoying that. I use it a lot. Rosy blushes naturally good on me because I have a red or pink undertone. So I use a lot of rosy blushes, and oranges are more difficult for me. Cool tone pinks and purples I love, but these, I'd probably use those the most. So next is the Wayne Goss. I have 2 Wayne Goss products I'm panning. One is a contour slash bronzer, and the other is a blush and highlighter. These ones are getting the minimum amount of my use pretty much every month. I don't think we're going to see very much difference. I'm a huge Wayne Goss fan, but these are good. They're just not something that stands out among my other products. There's products I like more, and everybody has, you know, tastes and preferences, and maybe that's what it is, but I'm just not super wild by these. They just don't do it for me. I am leaving them in for now, but it just is not something that gets me wowed, for lack of a better term. So next is my ambient lighting palette. This is one I've been panning since last year. And if you look, there is a huge pan in there. I'm going to transition to this one when this one's gone, but I am working on that. And I use that at least 20 times per month to make sure I'm really digging into that pan. Next is the Laura Mercier primer. I forgot to mark my lines, but this goes down quite a bit further now. It's actually about there. So I don't care for this anymore. I got it in gratis when I worked at Ulta in 2021, and it's obviously expired. Actually, well, yeah, it is expired because it's 24 months. So it's expired as of probably the end of 2023, I would guess, or somewhere around there. It's silicone free. It's a blurring primer. I don't feel like this does much. I feel like it does kind of create a layer that allows powder to sit on smoother, but with your liquids, you could still, like, I can't go without powder if I want to smooth like pore area, and I don't even have large pores. Like people are gonna be like, you have no pores. No, I just smooth them over, but everyone has pores. But this is one, it's not my favorite, but I am trying to get what I can out of it. Next is another one that is two products for the same brand. I do try to lump these together. One is the Kevin Aquan. Oof, this is the sculpting powder, and this is in light. They do sell this in more than one shade. I do have a pretty considerable dip in this. It's one of my favorite products. I love using it. And then I have the Kevin Aquan Sensual Skin Enhancer. This is one that gets used a bare number of times. It feels wonderful on the skin, and I mean that. It feels great on your under eye, but it has like an orangier undertone. It's probably too warm for my skin set or my skin tone. I can't tell. It has an 18-month shelf life, which is good because we're at about 18 months next month, I think. The color doesn't, it just says XXSX02. I don't know if that's the shade, but it's a little bit too orange for me. Leaving it for now, see what I can get out of it. May declutter it next month when it's expired. That way I've used it at least this whole 6 months of the month. Something like that, I'm not sure yet. Next is the Shiseido foundation. I am well below this line now. I forgot to mark them, but I've been using this, again, I think I talked about this last month. I've been using this the bare number of times because it's just not wowing me. It functions. It's a great foundation, but it's just a good foundation. Like it's not, I don't know how to explain it. Like sometimes you get them and you're like, oh my, like the Beauty Blender skin tint. I got that and I was like, oh my God, whose skin is this? That one looks good every time I use it, but it doesn't make me like want to go back to it because it's just a good performing product. It's not something I crave to use anymore. At one point I did feel that way. Next is the Dose of Colors Concealer. This one's not going to show any change. There's a ton of product in here, but I do use this a lot in the month. This is technically expired right now, so as long as I can use it, that it's not giving me breakouts, it's not causing problems, it doesn't have an odor, I will be working on it. Next is my Becca color corrector. This is from the Smashbox one. Last year when I put this in the challenge, either in November or December, it was brand new. I had never used it before. And now we have a big pan, and then we also have one side of it is much smaller than the other, and I don't know what all's gonna pick up because my camera's autofocus is hating me today, but it is getting a lot of use and I'm seeing a lot of it to go back down, so that's amazing. Next is the Say Bronzer, and this is one that I've been using the minimum number of times. It is starting to act a little differently, so I don't know how long it will last, but I do have a bigger dip now from using it. This is not quite this dark or this warm when it's on the skin, but it does have a warmth to it. I'm not gonna lie, it has a warmth. For someone who's cool toned, sometimes I put it on, I'm like, because like for comparison, the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer is more cool toned in my shade, so it's just a little shocking at times. Next is the Natasha Denona Super Glow. This is one that used to be my literal favorite highlighter ever, and now I am like fighting with myself to use it. It just is not my favorite anymore, and I hit pan in my Fenty bronzer that's in another challenge, so it kind of like makes me not want to use it because I want to keep getting that pan and that Fenty, so it's kind of a vicious cycle with panning sometimes. Next is the Buxom Blush. These are the Wanderlust Primer Infused Blushes, and this one is in Mykonos. I struggle with these oranger toned ones. They typically look good on me. I just never think to reach for them, so I put a couple orange tone blushes in the 3 challenges. That way I would motivate myself to use these blushes. So that one's definitely staying in. It doesn't have a ton of change, but it is staying in. Next is the Jaclyn Hill Extra. This is the defunct Jaclyn Hill brand. This is her extra highlighter. It's a loose highlighter illuminator. This is just a mild gold highlighter. It doesn't have a ton of color to it. I use it on my inner corner almost every day, and it's probably about right here if I look in the camera, so it's like this much left. But for a loose highlighter, I'm only using my inner corner. This is going to last me years. It will probably go bad before I can finish it, so we'll leave that there. Next is the KVD Shade and Light palette. So this is the original Shade and Light. This is actually says Kat Von D. I got this in a mystery box when they were getting rid of all of the Kat Von D labeled items to switch to KVD. And I'm only panning this shade right here. You can see there is a ton of disturbance there. There's a ton of use. I love this product. I use it very often, and it makes, honestly, it almost always makes me look better. I use it today. I love the way my cheeks look. Next is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzers. I did put the powder and the liquid in this challenge, and the liquid cream, and the cream has a huge dent, and it had a dent when I started, but it's even bigger now. See if I can get it to stop picking up my face. It doesn't like me today, but there's a huge dent, and it's like literally touching the pan, but it hasn't broke through pan yet. So hopefully this month I'll hit pan on that one, which is make me happy with the price tag of that. And then this one is the powder one. It's 2 is too dark for me and 1 is not dark enough. So I struggle with this one a little bit. I have to layer it. Usually I use it with the Kat Von D, or I'll use it with the Fenty bronzer or the Jaclyn Hill bronzer, and I'll kind of use them together because it's a little bit light for me, even, you know, as fair as I am, if that tells you anything. So next is, I have 2 primers that are in this, and one is just way too light on my skin tone, but it was $9 basically after my discounts and things. And so I don't want to return it, or I didn't, that's too late to return now. But this one thing I did learn recently, that this has silicones in it. It's not a water-based primer. So if you're having reactions with this, if you use it with a silicone-based primer and foundation, you may see a change. I was having problems with it, so I started Googling the ingredients, and I actually kind of went off the deep end and like separated my foundations by water versus silicone, and my primers by water versus silicone, and my concealers by water versus silicone. And I've had 0 disruptions to my makeup since I did that. So just an idea. The second primer or concealer that I have in is the Milk Makeup. I actually love this. I often use this for foundation. It's like a perfect color, and it is definitely getting used, but because of the way that the mechanism or the container is, it's not going to show until it's literally almost gone. So that is that one. Next is the e.l.f. Halo Glow. This I am so proud of, I have to tell you guys. So this is the color One Fair. It's really, really orange toned. I feel like it's even oxidizing a little bit now that it's aging, but it's definitely, day one was the wrong color for me. I have the 0.5. I'm not using it till this is gone. This morning I was doing my makeup and I literally had to scrape the sides and dig for the product. So we're way down here in the product, and I'm now having to clean off the sides. So this month should be the last month for that one. I don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like to me. Next is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. This one has not been vertical. I wore it today. I am wearing it today. So it's not as, it's not been vertical long enough to show, but it is below that line now. I don't think like a ton, but it is below the line now. This is one that used to be my #1 all-time favorite foundation. And in another challenge, I think it's the 3rd challenge, I had put a product in that was expired and I didn't realize it. It caused my makeup to totally peel off my face at work. It was so embarrassing. So I didn't wear it for a while, but I'm back to wearing it. Now that I don't use that primer and I connected what it was, it's been working great and I really enjoy it. If you have dry skin, that's a great primer for it. And then the last one is the e.l.f. Power Grip. This is the 4% niacinamide one. I'm trying to see if I can get the air bubble out of it so I can show you how much is gone. So we're basically about right there. I've used that much. I do not like this primer. I used to love the Milk, stopped liking it. This one I had already bought. I actually gave away the non-niacinamide one because I didn't need 2 of the exact same primer, so I gave it away to some girlfriends at work. This one will probably at some point be decluttered. I'm trying to get any money out of it before I declutter it, that way at least it's not 100% waste. And that is the last item for this challenge. I did try to move this a little bit faster. Sometimes I get stuck explaining things and then my video ends up being really long. So if you like this video, if you like pan challenges, I hope you'll like, share, subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications. If you do not, you might miss videos because your girl never uploads at the same time on the same day, the same week, the same month. So, and it probably will be pretty sporadic for a while because of health issues and work schedules. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in pan challenge video #2, which is the 12x7 4 challenge. Bye guys.